and I'm here to today take you through mindfulness. I will give you a 1.5 hour debrief on mindfulness. I'll give an introduction. So let me tell you something about myself. I am a hardcore professional. I've been managing operations and business for the last 20 odd years. I've worked in corporates and then got into the education space in 2014. And I also follow mindfulness as a passion because learning has always been of great interest to me. So I'm also pursuing transactional analysis. I'm also pursuing happiness quotient. And now I'm deeply involved with mindfulness, and I try to incorporate mindfulness in my day-to-day life as well. What I will now do is, so that's about me. What I'll do is I'll share the screen and take you through mindfulness. So I hope everybody is able to see the screen.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, great. So now this will be a very interactive kind of a session. So please use your chat box so that I understand, that you have understood me. So in life, I'm sure all of you find yourself in this space sometimes. You find it difficult to concentrate, and you don't really know why. Could it be because of this? Sometimes you are having a good walk and you are not really enjoying the scene. Instead, you're thinking of so many things that's going on that particular day that you have to do or you have done, or some challenges that you faced in life. So your mind is most of the time full of things that, is either over or you are planning ahead. So when you are into multiple thought processes, you are not really in the present at that point in time. Does this happen to a lot of people?
Yes, it does, at least with me for sure.
Okay, great. Okay, so let me ask this question, before I go further on. Why are you here? Why is it that, we have joined here together? Why are you interested? You must be having your own reasons for, joining the session. So if someone can use their chat box, I'll just wait for a few responses. Just each of you ask yourself, why are you here today? Why are you interested in mindfulness? Yeah, somebody says to be more focused. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. To enjoy the present and leave excess baggage. It's chaotic so many times. Okay. Some more responses. So I would like, all of you to be really give it a thought as to why are you here today? Clear perspective and acceptance, to appreciate the creation also. Yes, nice. Okay, we are here for all of this. So today, let me take you through the introduction of mindfulness. Mindfulness is, all about training your brain. And by training your brain, you can change your mind. And yes, irrespective of what you have been told till now, brain can be trained to think in a manner that is useful to you, that is, output oriented to you, that is productive to you. Yeah. So what's the agenda today? One, we will, I'll you the basics of mindfulness. I'll touch upon some, how can you manage self. So we will do some exercise on awareness and self-management. And we'll also learn at least one skill today on mindfulness, yeah, and how it impacts our relationships. So that's the primary agenda. What we will do also is a few exercises. So I would request all of you to be participative. So we'll share some insights using the chat box. I will take you through a mindfulness meditation. We'll do some mindfulness exercises. We'll have some reflections of our own on, on the exercises that we did. We'll do a little bit of reflection and understand, what we learned. And we can also have conversation on the chat box, yeah, as the time permits. And then finally, if time permits, we can also do a Q&A. So I'm sure everybody is aware of, the magic lamp. Yeah, Aladdin and the magic lamp. So I would like each one of you to sit and think about 3 wishes, and probably if you have a pen and paper, to note it down. I'll give you a minute for this. So I want each one of you to think that you have this magic lamp with you, and this magic lamp will fulfill your wishes. So what would be your 3 top wishes? What's your first wish? What's your second wish? What's your third wish? Take a minute and note it down on a pen, with a pen and a paper. And once you note down your wishes, I would request you to share some of your wishes on the chat box if you're feeling safe. Anybody? Would anybody like to share their wishes? Okay, to be useful. What are the wishes that we normally have? So most of the time, since I do not see any feedback on the wishes, to be happy, all right. So more often, our wishes are all about, if you, check, most of our wishes are about external things. We feel that, if I get this, then I will be happy. If I achieve this, then I will be happy. If I reach here, then I will be happy. So it's all about, external things. But, your life is not about, and your happiness is not about that at all. So there was a research done by Sean Aker. He did a study and he talks about the happiness advantage. And he says that, in reality, if we knew about happiness, then we will also understand that our long-term happiness has nothing to do with our external things at all, about what we achieve in life or what we get in life. It has nothing to do with those kind of things at all. Our happiness primarily is all internal, and the way our brain processes about the way we think, the way we think about the situation that happened to us, uh, the way an event happens in our life, how do we process that event. Our happiness is completely internal and not external. Okay, somebody says to fulfill the purpose of being born. Yeah, okay. So what exactly then is mindfulness? Because we are saying that our happiness has nothing to do with external events. Our happiness has nothing to do with others. Our happiness has everything to do with how we process our brain, right? So brain is nothing but, the way you think. So it's about mind. So what exactly is mindfulness? Let me see what, what is it that you understand about mindfulness. You can use the chat box. What is mindfulness according to you? Okay. What I'll do now is, since I'm not seeing any response, let me take you through a video, okay, to understand what is mindfulness.
Welcome to Awaken Mind. To begin with, I want to introduce you to the why and what of mindfulness. A 12-year study from Harvard found that only 10% of our happiness is determined by our external conditions. The other 90% is based on how we process the world. So what's the key to taking care of this 90%? Mindfulness. Aside from happiness, science confirms it's also great for physical and mental health, relationships, leadership, performance, and more. So what is mindfulness? At its most basic, mindfulness means being in the present continuously. When you're in the present, you'll notice you have a relaxed body, an open heart, and a clear mind. Welcome to Awaken Mind.
I'm sorry.
Welcome to Awaken Mind. To begin with, I want to introduce you to the why and what of mindfulness. A 12-year study from Harvard found that only 10% of our happiness is determined by our external conditions. The other 90% is based on how we process the world. So what's the key to taking care of this 90%? Mindfulness. Aside from happiness, science confirms it's also great for physical and mental health, relationships, leadership, performance, and more. So what is mindfulness? At its most basic, mindfulness means being in the present continuously. When you're in the present, you'll notice you have a relaxed body, an open heart, and a clear mind. How about when you're happy and stress-free? You'll notice the exact same thing. So if you want to radically improve performance, reduce stress, and increase happiness, mindfulness is a no-brainer. The problem is, most of us spend far too much time lost in distraction about the past or the future. This is called the default brain network, and it can lead to stress, premature aging, depression, anxiety, and illness. Mindfulness helps us wake up from the default network and develop a habit of being continuously present.
Okay, so we all understood what is mindfulness. Yeah, any comments? Would anybody like to share? What did we learn from this video? Okay, being in the present. So let me take you through the definition of mindfulness. Okay. So mindfulness means paying attention to what's happening in the present moment, in our mind, in our body, and the external environment, which means you are aware and you're paying attention to whatever is happening in your brain with thoughts, feelings, your emotions, what's happening in your body, what is happening with the situation around you, and with an attitude of curiosity. You're being curious. And along with curiosity, you're also being kind. So mindfulness is nothing but being in the present moment with mind, body, knowing what's going on around you. And you also develop an attitude of curiosity and compassion. What we will now do is, we will do an exercise of 1 cycle of breath. Let me take you through this meditation. Yeah. Let me know if you're able to view my screen. Are you able to view my screen? And
Yes, yes.
One
Yes.
complete cycle of breath. Let's start our day to check our breath. Start with finding a relaxed and a comfortable position. You could be standing or seated on a chair or on a cushion. Allow your body to settle. Keep your spine erect with a natural curve in the lower back. Adjust your body where it feels relaxed and at the same time alert. Posture should not be rigid, and there should be sense of ease in the body. Sitting with sense of dignity. You can gently close your eyes or keep them open with a soft gaze looking downward. Let the belly and shoulders relax. Take a full breath in and a long breath out. Now allow the breath to find its natural rhythm. In and out. Bring your full attention to one complete cycle of breath. First, notice inhale begins. How it continues, and when it ends. Then, notice when the exhale begins. How it continues. When it ends. And whether there is a brief pause before the next inhale begins again. On the next inhale and exhale, use your full attention like this to complete one cycle of breath practice. From time to time, you will get lost in thoughts. Simply return to your one cycle of breath. Stay here for few more moments and notice your breath in silence. Namaste.
Okay, so how was it for you? I'm looking for some feedback. Nice. Okay, relaxing, peaceful, right? So what exactly happened here? Felt eased, okay? So this one cycle of breath is a very good exercise, whenever we are feeling overwhelmed, whenever we are feeling upset, or sometimes it happens that, we are upset and we just want to give a rejoinder to somebody, right? Take a pause at that point in time. You can use this breathing technique so that you can be mindful about the way you interact with others. Yeah. Also, it's a good habit to inculcate, because it's very, very important that deep within we feel relaxed and peaceful. That's when we become more mindful with our words, our actions. Okay, so let me take you through. So we did this one. Calm is a superpower. Okay. So I would request you, whenever you get the time, do this exercise. At least try to do it every day. It just takes a minute. You can do 5 breathe in and 5 breathe out. Yeah, take a deep breath in, count 1, and then exhale, count 2. So you can also do like inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Do it 5 times. And every time you do this, you will see that your brain is more relaxed. You are much more relaxed. You are able to get a lot of things done. Your mind is not, rushing through things. Yeah, you are not overwhelmed. So do this practice every day, and also reflect how you feel about this practice. Now, yes, we all want to be mindful. We all want to, have a good relationship with everybody. We all want to be extremely productive in life. But then, so it all comes to calming our brain, and we all have that intent. But why is it that we are unable to, when it is absolutely required, at that point in time, we are unable to exercise mindfulness? Why is this so? So let's see some of the obstacles in our day-to-day life that does not allow us to be mindful. So what we will do is, before we go into the obstacles, let me do a small exercise with you. What I want all of you to do is hold hands like this. Close your hands and feel them. All right, we'll just do it for 2 seconds. So close your hands and then feel them. Make sure you do not lose attention. And if you're losing attention, just separate your hands, and then again, hold them. Take a second. Okay. So let's see. Share your experience in holding the hand. What happened to you while you were holding your hands? Felt the warmth? Okay. What were we thinking when we were holding our hand? Were we thinking something? Submission, okay. That I have to focus. All right. Any more? Make efforts to focus, okay. Thinking of nothing, all right. So now a few questions. Were you able to do it? Did you lose your attention? I would ask each one of you to think about this. When you were holding your hand, were you able to do it? I mean, were you, I told you to hold on for 2 seconds. Were you able to do it? Did you lose your attention? Did you remember to feel your hands? Or were you thinking of something else? Did you think that what is it she's going to ask me to do? Or what is it that she's going to say? Felt my hands, okay. So what happens is that, we spoke about obstacles to mindfulness. Yeah. So some of the obstacles to mindfulness, one of the main obstacle to mindfulness is mind wandering. While you were holding your hand, some people would be busy thinking, okay, what next now? What is she going to say? Yeah. Or else, okay, you are busy thinking about something else. So if you are holding your hand and feeling the warmth of your hand, then you are there. You are in the present moment. But if you have been thinking that, okay, what next? Then that's where, we're talking about mind wandering. It is said that there is a research which says that, 47% of our time, our mind is always wandering, which means half the lifetime, our mind wanders. Now, where is this mind of ours wandering? Our mind is either thinking about what next, planning about the future, thinking about all the task lists that we need to achieve, or else we are ruminating about the past, sitting about and thinking about something that went wrong, either in the near distant past or long time ago. So our mind is all the time oscillating between the past and the present. And this often, stops you from being in the present moment. And it is also said that a wandering mind is an unhappy mind. Yeah, because you're not here, you're not enjoying your present moment. You're not in the here and now. So this is one of the obstacles of mind wandering. And if you want, to maybe manage your mind wandering to some extent, you can do this exercise of hand holding. Yeah, hold your hands and see if you're just in the here and now. Another obstacle to mind wandering is autopilot. which means our default mode network is on all the time. So I would request to ask how many people actually remember brushing your teeth this morning or taking your shower. A lot of times we dress up, we get into our car, we drive, and we reach our office. And we don't even remember, what all happened during the drive. Because we are on an autopilot mode. We are so busy thinking about what I need to go and do in the office that you do not remember your travel time at all. Yeah. So this is, one more obstacle to mind wandering. Obstacle to mindfulness. So then, how do you stop yourself? How do you stop your mind from wandering? How do you stop your brain from being on the default mode? With awareness. So one of the skills that we develop with mindfulness is, awareness. We are aware when we are, and this can be inculcated in our day-to-day life. When we're sitting and having a conversation, just be there. Just be in that conversation. When you're driving, enjoy your drive. When you're talking to somebody, talk to somebody, listen to that person. Yeah. So that's how you will build your awareness. You have to know what's going on around you. You have to know what's going on in your brain. You have to know what's going on in your body. Yeah. So, do you sometimes feel that, 24 hours is less in your day? You get this feeling sometimes. You feel that you're all the time running from pillar to post, and yet you're not reaching anywhere. If that is the feeling that you are getting, then maybe there's a possibility that you may be multitasking. We all multitask, and we've all been taught that multitasking is okay. All right. So is multitasking an illusion or a reality? Let's take some thoughts to this. Is multitasking an illusion or a reality? Does everybody multitask? We all do, right? Yeah, we all multitask. So is multitasking an illusion? Somebody says yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So somebody says illusion, someone says reality. So multitasking is an illusion. Yeah. Though we feel that we are multitasking, but are we really multitasking? Can our brain really multitask? Our brain is not made in, does not actually have the capacity to multitask. So let me prove it with an example. So let's do this exercise. I want all of you to say A to Z and see how much time it took. Are you done? Now I want all of you to say 1 to 26. Quickly in your brain, say count 1 to 26. Okay. Now I want you to say A1, B2, C3, D4 up to Z26. And then I would request you to share your experience. So are you able to do this? Were you able to do? Were you able to complete the task? So maybe, your A to Z was easier. So was saying 1 to 26. But when you did this combination of A1, B2, some of you would have taken a longer time and finished it. Some of you would not have finished it at all. So the bottom line is that, our brain will take a little extra time to do the multitasking. So this is how the brain is. When you're doing 1 to 26, you're unitasking. When you're doing A to Z, you're unitasking, right? But when you're doing A1, B2, C3, up to Z26, you have to do a little bit of thinking. So you obviously will slow down. You may complete it within the given time. You may not complete it. You may let it go in between because you find it confusing, right? So these are the things that happen. Yes, somebody says that got mixed up in between. True that. Because you're multitasking and your brain is not designed to multitask. Now, our brain can do one thing at a time with full productivity. So what happens when you multitask? It takes time. When you have to multitask, what exactly is the cost of multitasking? It takes a little extra time. The quality is diminished, right? Like, for example, when you were doing 1 to 26, it was real, in Zoop, less than a minute you did it, right? Similarly, A to Z, it was easier. But when you had to do A1, B2, somewhere along the line, you had to start thinking. Somewhere along the line, you got confused. Somewhere along the line, you gave up, right? So it takes time to do multitasking. That's one of the costs. It takes extra time rather than single tasking or unitasking. The quality gets impacted. One gets stressed out. And when you're doing multitasking, often it happens, that your relationship damages. So one of the example in relationship damage of multitasking is that, you're sitting and having a conversation with somebody. And at the same time, these days, it's a common phenomena. You are actually chatting, right? So what happens here, when you are chatting on the phone or you're going through the phone, navigating through the phone, and then at the same time sitting and having a conversation with somebody, that person feels slighted, you're giving a feeling of that person not being very important. Yeah, so that's how it causes relationship damage. So what we will do is we'll we'll watch a small video on this. Just a second. Okay, are you all able to see this?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay.
Turns out that multitasking is a myth. We think that we're doing a whole bunch of things at once, but we're not actually, because the brain doesn't work that way. And a number of studies now have shown, from Earl Miller's lab at MIT and others, that what we're really doing is we're paying attention to one thing for a little bit of time, and then another, and then another, and then we come back around to the first. And all of these are separate projects that are occurring in separate parts of the brain. They require a separate start time, a separate monitoring process, and you end up fractionating your attention into little bits and pieces, not really engaging fully in any one thing. All that switching across tasks comes with a neurobiological cost. It depletes resources. So after an hour or two of attempting to multitask, if we find that we're tired and we can't focus, it's because those very neurochemicals we needed to focus are now gone. There are some jobs that require not multitasking because we know it doesn't exist, but this kind of rapid switching. I'm air traffic controller, simultaneous translator at the UN, journalists, monitoring all these different things at once. And we can take a tip from the air traffic controllers who, as part of their duty cycle, are required after every hour and a half or 2 hours of work, it's mandated that they take a 15 to 30-minute break. And that means an unplugged, disconnected break where they go for a walk, or they listen to music, they exercise, something to restore all of the burned up neurochemicals. You might ask, during this period of our evolution, when there's all this information, is the brain adapting and changing? And yes, it is. The brain adapts all the time. Evolution is happening all the time. Unfortunately, it's rather sluggish. We talk about it in terms of evolutionary lag, and generally speaking, it takes about 20,000 years for the brain to catch up with the way the environment is, and in terms of how it's encoded in the genome. So 20,000 years from now, our brains may have evolved to deal with it. In the meantime, we have to employ strategies, just a little bit more self-discipline than we currently use, to filter out unwanted or unnecessary input. I'm not talking about never letting something frivolous or fun in, but I'm talking about adopting a kind of a habit of allowing yourself to focus on one thing at a time for at least a few hours a day.
Okay, how was that? What did you learn about multitasking? Okay, very informative. Okay. So do you now believe that, multitasking is not something that we can actually do? The brain cannot function. Yeah, the brain can only focus on one thing at a time. Yes, that's true. So whenever we multitask, it is always at the cost of extra time. It's at the cost of quality, causes stress to us. And yes, it can even, damage our relationships. So multitasking, what exactly is multitasking? Doing multiple things at the same time. It is noticed that 98% of the time we cannot multitask effectively. With multitasking also, as per the research, it is seen that multitasking lowers the IQ by 10 points. Yeah, it is as same as sleepless nights. And multitasking lowers your productivity by at least 40%. So these are the perils of multitasking. So how do you practice mindfulness then? So mindfulness, we have something called a formal practice, and formal practice is nothing but meditation. So when we say meditation, formal meditation, we sit at a certain time, at a certain place, for a certain length of time, and we practice. That's a formal practice, and one of the example of formal practice is meditation. We can also practice mindfulness in an informal way. Like, for example, when you're brushing your teeth in the morning, when you get up and brush your teeth, just focus on the sensations of brushing the teeth. Just be there in the moment.
Bahanti? Oh, Bahanti. Bahanti good good. Bahanti good good.
So if someone can put themselves on mute. Okay. So one is brushing the teeth, which is an informal practice. You can practice mindfulness while walking. So when you're going for a walk, just be there, watch the birds, watch the tree, watch nature, focus on your walking. Driving is another, informal practice. You can inculcate, you can implement mindfulness while driving. So focus on where you're going rather than thinking what you need to do when you get there. Yeah. And there's also something called mindful eating. When you're having your food, focus on the food, the taste of the food, the color of the food. Just be there. So these are very, some of the simple ways in which you can do an informal practice of mindfulness.
Yeah, okay. Chuchu na hoy, ate uchi lagu. Please na.
So let's do a breath meditation.
Sit down. Sit down. Your bed there. Sit down. Good boy. Yes. Good boy. Take a muti ni. Ko abis na honda muti re yo. Yaar je anisha na ka tikla na. Tero tikla re dale ko bana lage.
Are you all able to view it?
You have a good complex process with that.
I think I'm able to hear somebody. Can someone please mute yourself?
বাচ্চা হয়েছে কারণে টাইপ ইনপুট করে না মানুষ বুঝছা তুমি অবিজিট টিকলা টিকলা মানে না মানু আই মিন যেটা টিকলা মানে না দাদা ভাই
One more formal mindful meditation practice.
Let's do a breath meditation.
Breath. Meditation. Well done for reaching this far. Now we're going to introduce you to one more formal mindful meditation practice. Classic breathing meditation. So basically, here we are doing the same thing as the previous meditation.
Dr. Wasavi?
Very sorry about that.
Not a problem.
Breath meditation. Well done for reaching this far. Now we're going to introduce you to one more formal mindful meditation practice. Classic breathing meditation. So basically, here we are doing the same thing as the previous meditation, but with more technical emphasis on breathing. It turns out that most people find it easier to notice the movement in their body than to notice the body in general. That's where the breath meditation comes in. As you may have noticed, every breath, in and out, is movement in your body. Tingling sensations in the nose and mouth, expansion in the chest, diaphragm and stomach as the air goes in, and gentle softening and falling as the air goes out. Breath meditation is the go-to mindful meditation practice for the vast majority of mindfulness practitioners, simply because it's easy to be present with. One important thing though, Breathing meditation is not some sort of yoga or gym-based breathing activity. That's missing the point. Remember, we're trying to train ourselves to be present with our experience, not to control our experience. So relax and just breathe naturally, knowing there is no right breathing pattern. Even if there are long pauses between your breaths, just chill and notice how still your body is before you take your next breath. Oh, and one last tip. Your mind will continuously present thoughts and distractions. Don't fight these. It's completely natural for thoughts to come and go. Just gently come back to the present moment and notice the sensations in your body. You're not training your attention to fight your mind. You're training it to increase its focus, presence, and connection with your experience.
So what did we learn about breath meditation? All of you did that, one cycle of breath. And now you have understood why breath meditation is, important. You can try sometimes, when you are feeling overwhelmed or, there is tension building up within you. The best way forward would be, to take few deep breaths. When you do that, your mind is always calm. Your mind is able to think much better. Okay. Anybody had that experience? Yeah, great. So what is mindfulness? So let's see what mindfulness is not. Okay, so mindfulness is not about suppressing your feelings and your emotions. Mindfulness is not about avoiding your emotions. It is not about denying what you are feeling, and it is not even about delaying how you feel. Mindfulness is all about awareness, right? So are you aware how you're feeling? So if you're going through an unpleasant feeling, are you able to accept it? Are you able to accept yourself? Are you able to accept others as they are? Mindfulness is about strengthening self. How do we strengthen ourselves? You can inculcate or incorporate mindfulness in your day-to-day activity. I spoke about the informal practices in which you can initiate mindfulness in your day-to-day life. Mindfulness is also about compassion. So, how do you feel about other people? Are you do you have the ability to understand what a person is going through? So that's compassion. Okay. So what are the mindfulness practices that we learned today? Learned about the magic lamp, where we understood that our happiness has nothing to do with external situations. It's not about other people. Yeah, our happiness completely is within us. We also learned about one cycle of breath. What we did here today in one cycle of breath was that if we are feeling overwhelmed, so how is it that we can calm ourselves? We also learned about holding hands, and that is for attention, for awareness. Yeah. We also understood what breath meditation is all about. And we understood, we went through multitasking, how good or bad multitasking is, what are the benefits of multitasking, or what are the flip side of multitasking, or is there any benefit at all in multitasking? Let me take you through, one video that talks about mindfulness and about awareness. Rick Hansen is a research person and he has done multiple research on mindfulness. So how was it? Were you all able to view it? Were you all able to view the screen? Hello? Okay, all right.
Why is mindfulness so good? All the research is showing how good it is for you. What's actually happening when you're being mindful in the brain?
People use the word mindfulness in many different kinds of ways, and I think that's okay. Just as long as we know what that placeholder term means. And sometimes a term can become so broad and so elastic. If it means everything, it means nothing. So what do we actually mean by it? And I go back to sort of the traditional root definition that mindfulness is simply sustained present moment awareness. It can be applied to our outer world as well as to our inner world of thoughts and feelings and desires. And mindfulness itself is neutral. It doesn't intervene, it simply observes. And most people can be mindful for a few seconds and then whoosh, lost in thought. So one of the fundamental uses of mindfulness in terms of the brain is in terms of the idea of experience-dependent neuroplasticity, which is a fancy way of saying that our experiences are continually changing the brain. Except that brain-changing process is turbocharged for whatever is in the field of attention. In other words, in terms of the classic saying, neurons that fire together, wired together, that happens throughout the nervous system, but it primarily happens for what we're paying attention to. So attention is a combination spotlight and vacuum cleaner. It illuminates what it rests upon and then sucks it into your brain. Therefore, if a person has any interest in autonomy, if they have any interest in being in charge of their own life, it's critically important to get control over, to be able to regulate your own attention in terms of where it rests. Can you rest your attention and sustain that resting on something that's useful? And can you pull your attention away from things that are not useful? Because in either case, whatever you rest your attention on basically is getting wired into your being through the course of experience-dependent neuroplasticity. So minimally, mindfulness training is attention training. You're beginning to regulate arguably our most fundamental property, where we rest attention, right? And you're getting control over the absolute first step of the reconstruction of your own brain, which is who you are in a very fundamental sense. And so that's one of the major benefits of mindfulness training right there, getting more control over attention. The second benefit is that it helps us disidentify from our experiences. Instead of being glued to the screen of a movie, we're able to sit back 20 rows eating popcorn going, wow, that guy's really upset. Whoa, he's having all these strange ideas. Why don't I do this? Why don't I do that? Poor guy. That's really different than being glued to the screen and stuck there and completely identified with what's happening. So that's the second major benefit of mindfulness that much research shows. I think if the pharmaceutical companies, if something like Pfizer or Merck could patent MBSR or other forms of mindfulness training, we'd be seeing advertisements for it every night on television, at least in America, where we have tons and tons of ads for psychotropic meds. So then last, I'll just finish on this point, that with that sense of disidentification, you get less upset by what is happening for you, and you get more control over it. You have more choice. You have that space between stimulus and response, and mindfulness gives you that space. And then the last benefit is self-knowledge. People become much more self-aware. They become much more knowledgeable about and tuned into and insightful into their own experiencing and the layers of their own experiencing, including the deeper, often more vulnerable, sometimes younger, and more fundamental drives and desires that they have. So through that kind of deeper knowledge of themselves, that brings the sense of greater wholeness, but it also helps people be much more effective because they're much more aware of their own subtle reactivities and much more able to manage them.
Okay, so that's about the benefits of mindfulness. So what did you learn? What do you think is the benefits of mindfulness? Yes, helps to be attentive. Okay. Right, healthy soul, healthy body. Okay, focused, great. Better ability to attain concentration, happiness. True. So let's see what are the benefits of mindfulness. So mindfulness strengthens cognitive health, attention, and sharper focus, like all of you said. It strengthens your mental muscle, can bring back focus to where we want it and when we want it. So it builds up our cognitive muscle, which then helps us to be, to get a sharper focus, and our attention span increases. That is what happens when we practice mindfulness. We also feel connected and happy. We develop a deeper sense of connection, not only with self, but also with others. Why? Because we are aware, we are self-aware. We understand what's going on in our brain. We understand what's going on in our body. We understand what's going on around us. And hence, we are more mindful. We are mindful about the way we interact, the tone that we use, the words that we use. We are not impulsive in the way we interact with people or in the way we deal with people. And when we're not impulsive and when we understand our emotions and then manage our emotions, we are much more connected not only with ourselves, but also with others, which increases our happiness. More often, it is with relationships that we are able to be more happy. Yeah. It boosts resilience and it improves our immunity. So because it equips us with resources like patience, we increase our flexibility, our capability to be flexible. Uh, we learn to be more balanced in our approach. We are able to cope with adversity. Another benefit is, we cultivate awareness and balance. So we develop skills to be in the present. We know how to deal with difficult emotions. We are able to reduce the intensity and the impact of difficult emotions. So what happens here is that, suppose, for example, we are upset, and we actually want to lash out on somebody. What do we do with mindfulness? We realize that we are getting upset. We realize that our emotion is getting a little imbalanced. And so we are able to catch ourselves. We are able to be mindful about what we want to say, how we want to say. Yeah. And that is where breathing mechanism helps you. So mindfulness also helps us to manage our stress and anxiety. These are very, very important skills to develop. So we live in a world of stress, and we are anxious sometimes. But then, are we able to notice our anxiety? Are we able to understand that we are going through stress, and so it is important for us now to balance ourselves? Or do we just act out in an impulsive fashion because we are anxious? Are we able to effectively transform stressful situations? Yeah. Or do you add to a stressful situation? What do you do? So mindfulness helps us to transform a stressful situation into a calmer one. Mindfulness helps you also to model compassion and kindness. Because you are mindful about how you are feeling, you will be able to understand how others are feeling as well. Because you are capable of self-care, you also think about caring for others. Yeah, you develop self-compassion. You develop an ability to nurture. You develop the ability to comfort other people. Because you are able to manage yourself, you're also able to heal yourself. So it's not just about compassion and kindness to others, it's also about compassion and kindness to self. So even if you go wrong, you can be compassionate to self, and you can still correct the moment, you can still correct yourself, you can still correct your relationships. Yeah. And the best part about mindfulness is it actually increases your performance. So because you're able to relate to others better, because you're able to have a good relationship with others, because you are kind and compassionate, you're able to manage and balance your stress and your anxiety, and you have sharper focus. All of this adds to increase of your performance. So these are the benefits of mindfulness. Now, how can you integrate mindfulness in your daily life? I would strongly recommend meditate 10 minutes a day, at least 10 minutes a day, and see what a world of difference it creates for you. I definitely see the difference in me ever since I've started meditating. So I'm more mindful in the way I approach myself, the way I approach others as well. Also, one of the way to integrate mindfulness in your daily life is that read affirmations, talk positively to yourself, and feel that positivity. And that's when your vibe will be positive and you will be positive with others. Visualize your goals and feel it. Have a goal in your mind and see yourself achieving it. Ask yourself empowering questions. Always ask yourself how you can do better, how you can turn this around. Practice gratitude. It's very, very important for you to be grateful in life for for everything that you have. So practice gratitude, and journal. Journaling is a good way of writing out your feelings and your emotions, and then channeling your attention to some place. So sometimes it happens that when you are going through negative emotions, you're unable to share it, or you're unable to talk about it. So how about journaling? Journal your future self instead. Journal what you want to be, where you want to go. What is it that you want to be as a person? How do you want to be remembered? These are few tips on journaling. One of the best method in all of this is that while you meditate, inculcate the art of meditation every day, in a day, for at least 10 minutes, which will help you balance yourself. Before you end your day, write 3 things that went well for you that day. What then happens is that you are always thinking about all the good things that happened to you, rather than ruminating about all the bad things that happen to you. Yeah. So this is how you can integrate mindfulness in your daily life. What we will do now is, if you have any questions, or if we need to discuss anything, we can do that. We have kind of 10 minutes left for a Q&A session. Or maybe you can share your examples on how you inculcate, if you inculcate mindfulness in your daily life.
So Girija, thank you for this lovely course, and this is really nice. Now, my question to you is how, and as an educator, like we need to practice mindfulness not only as a parent or as an individual, but also as an educator, right? And we need to give out these signals of actually being mindful even to the students. So how do you think an educator can inculcate mindfulness in children in their early years?
Yeah, so some of the thing that we often tell children is to pay attention. Yeah, and that is very, very important, because children do not have children's attention span is very, very less. Yeah, so one of the way to pay attention is that you practice and you give full attention to your children when you are at home, or as an educator when you are interacting with them. You please give full attention. The most important thing is that we teach children to breathe. That is one of the most important thing. I mean, we all breathe, and it happens so naturally that we don't even realize that we are breathing. So often children, when they are having big emotions, they do not know how to manage themselves. The most important thing at that point in time to be mindful is to just hold the child and ask the child to breathe. Be there for the child. So when you do this, this is exactly what the child learns. So even in schools, we talk about, we ask children to pay attention. And then when the child is actually talking, we do not pay attention because we are so busy. We want to finish off an activity. So this is one of the ways that we can inculcate. One, by ensuring that we model that behavior. And second, by breathing practices. That is one of the things that we can do in schools.
Right. Thank you so much. And my second question is, can you share some quick tips? In the schools, educators get quite overwhelmed while they're conducting classes, and sometimes because children in the early years, how they are.
Yes.
So they're very active, they're very enthusiastic. So sometimes while doing a class, a teacher might get overwhelmed. So can you share a few mindfulness tips for teachers, what they can do immediately to get, that kind of control at that point of time?
Yeah. So the most important thing for a teacher who is overwhelmed is, rather than taking control, is about managing oneself. So it's all about managing the brain. If you do a day-to-day practice, on the meditation that I spoke to you about, or inculcating mindfulness in our day-to-day activity, it becomes a part of our persona. And hence what happens is we develop a lot of patience and balance within us. But we are human beings, and we will have situations and scenarios, and we will get impacted. So when that happens and we do not know how to handle, the most important thing at that point in time is to take a moment with self. So there's a lot of activity happening. There's a lot of things going on. There are children going berserk. So you as a teacher, rather than managing the situation, the most important thing for you to do at that point in time is to manage yourself. Are you getting carried away by the situation that is going on around you, or are you able to be the calm in the storm? So if you can just take one deep breath, wonders happen to your brain. So this is also this is also an example that I would like parents to inculcate, within themselves, because little children do not have your kind of brain. So children are still developing, their prefrontal cortex. So they don't have within them the balancing act. But you as an adult, you can have that. All you need to do, and it is a very simple technique. Instead of just thinking about what's going on around you, and instead of thinking that, oh my goodness, what is this, rather than looking at the situation, just observe what's happening in your brain. Take one deep breath, calm yourself down. So if you do that breathing thing for 5 times, take 5 deep breath, by that time, everything is settled, and you are able to handle one child at a time very calmly. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Girija. Let's wait for any other questions that might come in.
Sure.
Or if no questions come, then probably we can end the session.
Yeah, sure. So Sophie says, as a leader, we need to first inculcate the virtues of mindfulness, then teach it to others. So, a lot of times we don't really need to teach mindfulness to anybody if we are mindful. That is all that needs to happen. So we cannot correct others, and we cannot really teach others a lot of things, but we can teach ourselves. We don't get carried away by situations. We don't get carried away by what a person is saying and doing, because the onus is on them. But what we say and do, the onus is on us. And just because, sometimes we say a lot of things and do a lot of things because we are upset, instead of using that faculty of ours, can we just take time, pause, and take a deep breath? We'll be able to respond better. That's from my side. So if there are any more questions, we can take it, or else
Yeah,
my
we can,
gratitude.
yeah, we can wind up the session. And a big thank you to you, Girija, for taking out time today to deliver this session. We are live on Facebook as well. So many of us, many are watching in Facebook. We will have this session up in the YouTube channel for everyone to access later when they find time, and also in Facebook, the this live would be there for anybody who would want to check in later.
All right.
And thank you so much for joining us. And I thank everybody who joined us today. And so we are here. We'll wind up for now. And we are coming up with our next event very soon, which is the webinar, which we are conducting on 11th. So I request everybody to join on 11th at 4:30 p.m. And with that, I adieu goodbye to everyone. Wish everybody a very pleasant evening.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Vasavi. Thank you, everyone, for listening.